Bonjour, and welcome to the Urban Parle Podcast with your host, Sandra DeBose. Listen, I don't know what your relationship status is, and it really doesn't matter because I have someone today that's going to help you get your relationship right. He wrote the book on the rules. It's called Relationship Rules. I have with us today Dr. Eddie Connor Jr., and let me tell you some of the details about this man. We just buckle up, get your pen and get your paper and get ready to take some notes because this man is chock full of wisdom and he just be dropping gems. I mean, stuff you just want to put on your little sticky note, put it on your mirror so you won't forget. I'm telling you now, before he get to talking, I don't want you to miss anything. But let me give you a little background about our guest today. Dr. Eddie Connor, he is empowering people to overcome obstacles and walk in their unique purpose. That's his real life message. And he is a survivor of stage 4 cancer. And we'll talk a little bit about that experience as well. But a walking miracle. Won't he do it? Yes, he will. Yes, he will. He's an international speaker, college professor, conference host of Vision Summit. He's the founder of Relationship Academy. So not only did he write the book Relationship Rules, he has a whole academy so that you can join and you can get all of the juicy details on how you can have a wonderful and healthy relationship. Because I'm trying to tell you, we need some help in that department, okay? He facilitates master classes on how to build healthy relationships. He serves as the president of the National Entrepreneurs Associate Association of Michigan, excuse me. He's the author of 12 best-selling books, okay? So he is just so full of wisdom. He just be turning them out, okay? He just wake up, drop a book, drop a book. That's just how he do. I don't know how, but he just does it, okay? So he's got 12 best-selling books. He's been featured on BET, CBS, Ebony, the whole nine yards, PBS, The Steve Harvey Show. His accolades just go down the list. One of my favorites is that he's been a guest on the Potter's House. Now, you know, I love me some TD Jakes. Okay. So he's had the opportunity to be a guest on the Potter's Touch and an empowerment speaker at Bishop TD Jakes Mega Fest. He's done amazing things. He's top 35 millennial influencers in America, listed in top 100 in Who's Who in Black Detroit, named to Michigan Chronicles, top 40 under 40. And not only that, my man, former President Barack Obama, he's the recipient of the President Barack Obama Volunteer Service Award and the President Barack Obama Lifetime Achievement Award. Have I said enough? I could go on all day, but that's not what we're here to just talk about the accolades. We want the man himself, and he is here. And I'm so, so grateful for him taking time out of his busy schedule so that we can pick his brain and get to know more about him as an individual, because he is truly an empowering, very inspiring and brilliant man. And I am just so honored that you thought it not robbery to spend just an hour with us here at the Urban Parle Podcast. So Dr. Eddie Connor Jr., welcome to the Urban Parle.
Thank you so much. Appreciate such a raving introduction, Mr. Bose. Appreciate you.
Yeah,
I need to bottle you up and take you to all my speaking engagements. You introduce me.
You know what? Here's the deal. The truth is, I only invite people onto the Parle podcast that I really, really admire. And so when I talk about someone, I introduce them, it is coming from my heart. I am sincere. I'm excited about you. I've been following you on Instagram. I had the opportunity to be a part of one of the webinars you were speaking on. I've purchased 2 of your books. I'm listening now to Relationship Rules, and I am seriously a super fan. I think that you are really amazing. And I mean that. I really do. I really do.
I'm humbled by that. You didn't come to play with the parlay.
No, I did not. I did not. I only bring the real people here on the Urban Parle podcast to have real.
I'm honored.
Yeah, real conversation. So let's get started. So where I want to start with you, because like I said, I have listened to you, and we'll talk about how other people can follow you on social media and get in on the good stuff. But one of the things that I really enjoy about the way that you present yourself is that you're so brilliant with your words, right? And so you I'm like, he must be a rapper. Did you used to be a rapper? Because all your words, you just rhyme. Your flow is sick. He just be flowing with it. So that's my first question. Are you a secret rapper in disguise? Tell us what's really going on with the rhymes, brother. What's up?
That is funny. From what I, I don't try to have any type of poetic rhythmic flow. I
Really?
just speak as I go. I guess I just did it
Aha,
again.
aha.
I guess I just did it again. I don't know. From me talking to people who knew me back in the day, they would
Yeah,
always say, I always had some type of rhythm or
you do.
poetry or whatever to it. I used to write poetry to girls in school.
Yes, I read about
But
that.
I come from yeah, right in one of my books, Dear Queen.
Hmm.
Um, but I come from a musical family.
Yes.
Everybody plays, everybody sings. My mom's first cousin is Prince,
Okay.
late great legendary Prince. So
There you have it.
it is, yeah. I had some aspirations musically,
Did you?
but yeah, back in the day. But I was holding down a 8 to 3 as a teacher, and
Okay.
I was in the early stages, and you got to be really really dedicated to those who got to be educated. So
Oh yeah.
it didn't really work out. So to a certain degree, I exercised my musical gift, I guess, in some way, shape, or form, in my books. And then I also used to play drums. I used to play violin in the Detroit Symphony Orchestra. So
See.
maybe that's part of
Of course, that's definitely. I hear all of that when I listen to you speak, when I'm reading your books, just your writer's voice. I'm just like, this brother is dead serious. Like every word just flows so beautifully. So have you written, I know you've written
it.
poetry, which is really similar to
Yeah.
writing a song. Have you written any songs yourself? Do you sing?
I can hold a note. I can hold a note.
He's being shy, y'all.
You
When
want
somebody
more?
say, when somebody say, I can hold a note, he be his shower game is on point. I know
Uh,
it.
right. That's I have Grammys. It's just singing in the
I'm
shower.
sure.
But you know, I I I had to be able to hold a note. My mother would have my brother and I around the piano. She'd be playing, and we would have
Wonderful.
to be in our
Yeah.
um, um, particular notes, and we'd have to do it again unless we got it right. And a lot of times I'm singing with attitude and just trying to hurry up and get the note. I did voice lessons. I did theory. I used to sing in the choir as a kid. So yeah,
Yeah.
I can hold it down a little bit when necessary and
There
needed.
you go. There you go. It makes sense because I was just like, oh no, he's a whole artist. He's a singer. He's a writer. So do you have an intention to maybe write a song one day, or, since you already have that musical background, because right now you're a speaker and you're teacher, preacher, all these different things, but that's not all. I mean, do you have any aspiration to maybe one day, just because you can, write a song, a beautiful album? Because I'm telling you, you could write some kind of love song and you could win that Grammy outside of the shower. I promise you, you really could do it. A serious love song.
uh, well, the beauty of what I've done, and so many people I've met, celebrities, so on and so forth. I've been
Yeah,
in studios with many of them,
yeah,
and they've seen some of my books, or just I've helped a little bit in some studio sessions,
great.
and they're like, "Man, you should really think about writing.
Honestly, come
It should
on.
be think about being a writer, some form of fashion industry."
You have to.
I don't know. I don't know.
I'm
I don't
telling
know.
you.
Maybe you're unlocking something today. I
I'm
don't know.
telling you. I mean, your audience is asking for you. It's like, your people will tell you what they want from you, what they see. And so, I want to talk a little bit about that too, because I know that you help people uncover their purpose, right? So, but for me, as a singer, as an artist myself, I was just like, oh, he is dripping in it. You just can't get away from it. So I
Yeah.
was just like, that would be so dope. I'd be the first person to buy that album because I know it would be absolutely amazing. Uh, are you familiar with
Well, speaking
Pastor?
of albums,
Okay, go ahead.
I'll just interject. Just speaking of albums, to a
Yeah,
certain degree, as you're talking about, my audiobook, Relationship Rules.
Yeah.
and some other audiobooks, that is to a certain degree, it feels like an album to me,
Yes, it
you know,
does.
and my voice is the instrument.
Agreed.
So
I absolutely
yeah,
agree
yeah.
because Dear Queen, I'll tell you, as I was reading Dear Queen and Ladies, that is one. I mean, get all 12 of them, absolutely. But I started with Dear Queen because I was like, oh,
It's
he's
only
talking.
right,
It's
Queen, but
on.
dear Queen.
Hello. I was like, oh, he's writing to me. Yes, sir. So I said, let me start with Dear Queen. And I tell you, and I personally, I love audiobooks. So, because that's the way I can absolutely get it done, right? You can listen to it in the car, all that good stuff. And it felt like I looked forward to it every morning because it felt like an affirmation. It was like a
Wow.
mantra. All of the beautiful words that you were saying were just these beautiful reminders, your voice, the tone of it, all of it. And I was just, it's one of those things that you just want to listen to it over and over again because the way that you present it is just like, it's like your daily dose of your devotional. Just read a little bit of Dear Queen every day to get your crown straight. Read Dear Queen just a little bit every day, and you'll be all right. So yeah, most definitely,
Wow, that's a humbling that's some humbling feedback right there.
it's
Really
the truth.
appreciate that.
It's
Yeah.
absolutely the truth. So let's talk about your journey. When we talk about purpose,
Mhm.
and your gifts are obvious, right? As an orator, as a writer, all of that good stuff. How did I'm really curious about your spiritual journey. So
Mhm.
are you a pastor? Are you a minister? What is your title in terms of in the church? Because I know you speak at churches a lot, and I've heard you, give sermons and be the guest speaker for a lot of things. But where are you on that journey?
Yeah, I'm an ordained minister,
Okay.
and my journey, uh, probably was felt as if I was born on a pew.
Mm,
Um, my mother had me, and prior to my dad and my mother's divorce, she had us in church all the time,
okay.
more than I wanted to go at times. You know, I wanted to be a kid and
I can
play
relate.
hoops,
Yes.
shoot hoops, and play video games, whatever the case may be.
Right.
But that was the formative part. And I grew up in Kingston, Jamaica for part of my life. My parents were missionaries to the island,
Okay.
and we were doing um, ministry there. A lot of times, when you think about Jesus' ministry, 92% of his ministry was outside the church walls.
That's right.
So many times, especially pre-COVID-19,
Hmm.
ministry for the church in general, black, white, otherwise,
Hmm.
92% of our ministry was inside the four walls.
Yes, it was.
So doing the
Yes.
doing the ministry outside, ministry without walls, I was kind of used to that, and that became to a certain degree a passion that I developed for people.
Mm,
People's feet were their shoes. I mean, people weren't necessarily living in a third world country like Jamaica.
yeah.
Um, so many individuals weren't as blessed as we are from the States.
Right.
And thankfully, food grows on the trees, the mangoes and things of that
Right.
nature.
Yeah.
Um, but the resiliency and the beauty of my brothers and sisters in Jamaica is just a sight to behold, much less the beaches.
Yes.
But it's not always resort life for many people. And
Hmm.
so having a desire to see people grow and become their best selves,
Yeah.
I think that became the genesis of my journey, and it was spiritual
Hmm.
as well, developing my faith in God. And I really had to hone in on that when I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer at the age of
Please.
15.
Yeah, please
You
talk a
know,
little bit about that
yeah.
experience. So was cancer something that ran in your family, or kind of what was that whole thing like for you?
Yeah, it was very scary. I knew on my dad's side, his sister, my aunt, passed away from cancer. And
Hmm.
now that I think about it, actually, her son as well,
Really?
just about the age of 12 or 13, passed away.
No way.
Um, One of my best friend that I've ever had, uh, my best friend Henry, he passed away from cancer at the age of 7,
I'm sorry.
leukemia that was.
Yeah.
And um, I would say, I find myself battling that form of cancer, different form of cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma at the age of 15, 8 years after his passing.
Yeah.
And so in school, my sophomore year, then having to be, ejected from school, I'm losing my hair. And prior to that, I was having chest pains, and oftentimes vulnerability and masculinity cannot coexist in the same space. Oftentimes vulnerability is seen as femininity. Where can a
Mm.
boy, much less a man, talk about the pain that he's feeling?
Mm-hmm.
So many times pain is seen as weakness leaving the body. I didn't want to talk to anybody about the pain I was dealing with, because
Really?
you got to be a boy, you got to be a strong boy, you got to be a man at the age of 15.
Yeah.
And my parents are divorced at that time, and my father was not in my life at all. So
Okay.
never visited me one day in the hospital with that. And so you're just unpacking so many different variables and so many variegated things in life.
Mm-hmm.
And now I find myself in the hospital trying to breathe,
Mm.
can't breathe. Um, and the doctors find that there was a mass growing in my chest, around my heart, my trachea, my esophagus, my voice box. And it's interesting, I use my voice
Yeah.
to make a living.
Right.
And that's where the tumor was growing. And so they removed the tumor, and he says, I'm like, all right, let me get back to life. He said, no, 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 no. We got some things we got to do and deal with, make sure this doesn't come back.
Okay.
And he tells me, don't ask why. I'm like, that's how you gonna tell me what not to ask?
Right.
Um,
Right.
Number one, I'm already know I'm a pariah in America's eyes because I got black skin. Now
Mm-hmm.
I'm fighting to live.
Yeah.
So chemotherapy, radiation, 5 days a week, lose all my hair, and coming out of a quarantine, I got more hair in my head than I probably ever thought I would.
I'm jealous.
Long. I'm telling you, my the people I thought would be with me gone.
Yeah.
Just a lot of people forsake you in your time of being in the valley, and so
Mm-hmm.
it was a time to really um, hone in on my faith in God, and really more than anything, my mother fought for me to live because I was ready to go.
Were you?
Her love, yeah, yeah, yeah. I was ready to give up. I was. There was some times in the journey, when you're sick pretty much all the time. It's not a good feeling when you're
Sure.
seeing your body, kind of just make the change, and you're on all these medications, and you're getting chemo and radiation poison pumped to your body, and
Yeah.
you just can't even be a kid like everybody else.
Right.
And it took me to the edge of my mind. But my mother told me, Psalm 118:17 says, "You shall not die, but live and declare the works of the Lord."
Mm-hmm.
And so having to find the can in cancer, understanding that God may allow you to go through it, but He can bring you through it to where you come out better than what you went in.
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so, find the can of cancer, and understanding that you're not just a conqueror, but you're more than a conqueror.
Mm-hmm.
And, that you can live on purpose, with a purpose, and live through dying places.
Ooh,
And
live through dying
where we are
places.
now. Yeah, yeah.
Yes. So talk about your purpose. At what point, getting past that experience and healing, did you finally say, this is my purpose? When did you know? Because I think that a lot of people struggle with knowing what their purpose is. When you say purpose, that can be confusing because it's like, well, I'm good at cooking. Is that my purpose? I can sing a little bit. Is that my purpose? Like, how do you know what your purpose is as opposed to something that's a skill that you're just gifted in? How do you know?
It's a great question. I believe a job is what you're paid for, your purpose is what you're made for.
Hmm.
And I think your purpose begins with a why. We know what we want, when we want it, how we want to receive it,
Yeah.
where we want to receive it at. But a lot of times we don't know the why. And I think one of the things is, as you do find certain things that you're gifted at, because many of us we're gifted at more things than just one.
Indeed.
Everybody's a red box, a gold bowl. We're a gift to the world. And tragedy is to be gifted, but to never open the package.
Amen to
And
that.
so, looking at the gifts that you do have, and discovering to a certain degree what comes easy, what comes natural.
Okay.
And the thing is, it's not that working your gift won't be hard. is just not as difficult as doing something that you don't desire to do. And I think the purpose of what you have and the purpose of who you are and what you want to do connects to your passion. It's a desire for you. It's a drive. It motivates you, it encourages you. You find it to be a place of serenity. You find it to be a place of enjoyment, to be able to exercise who it is that you are.
Yeah.
Because a lot of us can be in a job for many, many years and we don't get to a place of fulfillment because we know in the back of mind there's a business in us. There's a
Yes.
book in us.
Right.
There's a depth of a musical gift. There's something else that's on the inside of us that
Right.
will never feel fulfilled
Mm-hmm.
until we, as Dr. Miles Monroe said, die empty.
Die empty. That's
The
right.
richest place on the planet is not Bill Gates' house, Oprah Winfrey's house, Elon Musk's house.
It's the
It is
cemetery.
the local cemetery.
That's right.
Yeah.
It's the cemetery.
So being able to discover that gift, unearth it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to sift through a lot of junk to find that jewel.
Okay.
But it's worth the discovery.
Mm-hmm. When did you absolutely know for you, this is my purpose? This is it. And what would you say your purpose is? What is your purpose?
I think my purpose is to encourage people and empower people to overcome obstacles in their life, whatever that obstacle particularly may be. To really, as I said before, live through particular dying places.
Yeah.
For me, I remember the doctor told me and my mom, he said, hey, take Eddie to some vacation island, whatever the case may be. And I hadn't been back to Jamaica in years, since I was probably about 5 or 6 years of age.
Wow.
And about 15, 16 at this time. And the doctor says, take Eddie someplace. We're just gonna take a little cessation on his chemotherapy and see after he comes back if we need to resume in about a couple weeks. So my mom takes me to Jamaica. Feels like home all the time. Is very, very well fond of the island, and
I don't hear
people know me there, and I know them.
I'm sorry, but I don't hear your accent, so I'm not really sure that you are from Jamaica.
Man.
You're there. Let me hear you. What is it?
Wagwan.
Oh, Wagwan. Okay.
I feel real talk, man.
All right, there he is.
You still got little drop Jamaican accent, man.
There you go.
You used to get real. I'd get teased real bad when I came back from Jamaica. I was a kid, and you just absorb the culture so quickly.
Yes.
And I had a thick Jamaican accent as a kid, and the kids teased me out of it. So yeah.
I just needed to know everything was still Irie. I was like, I don't believe him. I think he just wrote that down.
No problem. Jamaica land we love.
Okay, you good. You certified. I'm the fake one. I'm the fake one, though.
Now you got a little island in you. You got a little island in you.
Somewhere in there. I'm from New York, and I'm an actor, so I just kind of
absorb
all of these different dialects that just kind of, all of these different people that I just love to become, and I just love the Jamaican dialect, patois, and I have so many friends that I just pick it up and run with it. So, but I love that. I love the accent. I love the culture, all of it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I could hear a little New York flavor in you.
Yeah, New York. That's what's up.
Brooklyn stand up.
So you were talking about purpose.
So right. Yeah. So the doctor said, hey, take Eddie over to Jamaica or wherever he wants to go on some vacation. And as I was there, the pastor knew. I mean, my hair was gone this time. It was probably about, I was on some medications. So I was on probably about 150 pounds bigger than what I am now.
Really?
I was just not in a great state.
Yeah.
Physically and emotionally.
I get it.
And one of the pastors there who knew me since I was, knee high to a duck since I was a kid, he said, Eddie, I want you to, on this particular Sunday, I want you to give a sermon. I'm like, what? Give a sermon?
Really?
I never gave no sermon before. Why would I want to give a sermon?
Right.
And as I'm preparing the message, I remember the title of the message, I'll never forget, it's called Destined to Overcome the Odds. And to a certain degree, I was really preaching out of my own pain.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm printing out
I'm
the
gonna write that
message.
down. I'm gonna steal that. Sorry. Go ahead. Destined to overcome the odds. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's yeah. Yeah, it's one of the chapters in my first books that I
Okay.
ever wrote, called Find the Can of Cancer.
Okay.
And as I'm preparing the message, I had enough ink in the printer, but it all printed out in red. Still to
Mm.
this day, I'm like, how in the world is it printed out in red? And I got enough ink as the new printer cartridge in there. And it
Yeah.
just kind of symbolized that the blood was covering my situation.
My God, that's a
And
good one.
God had my back.
I love that. I love that.
And it was going to be all good. And so I do the message, and the people receive very, very well. And it just felt, in the midst of the nerves that I did have,
Mm-hmm.
I felt at ease. I felt that this was something that just came natural to me.
Yeah.
And I mean, those people prayed for me, and I believe it was the prayers, as the Bible said, the prayers of righteous availeth much.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the prayers of those people who actually brought me through that specific place in my life. But purpose, a lot of times, is discovered in pain. Sometimes it
Mm-hmm.
seems so painful.
Yes.
The thing that seems so painful can become the thing that's most purposeful.
Indeed. Indeed. And
Yeah,
that's my testimony. So I totally understand that 100%.
yeah,
So
absolutely.
let's talk about, because you are the relationship guru.
I don't know
I
about
I
that.
called you that. I called you that. You know why? You know why I'm saying that, because, and I just have to, I have to apologize first of all, because I don't have any cool bells and whistles like you have. I ain't got no,
Oh,
oh
stop
man,
it.
I don't got no sound effects. I got nothing, bro. I just got me. That's all I got. When you tune into Dr. Eddie on his Instagram, he does a Instagram live. Was it Monday and Wednesday nights? You do that, right? Um,
Wednesday and Friday nights,
Wednesday
yes.
and Friday nights. Okay. And so,
Yeah,
but
9
he's
p.m.
got the sound effects, he be dropping bombs. It's just, he's so cool. I got nothing. I got a bookshelf and a picture of my kids. I got nothing. But
You got more books on your shelf than I do. I just got this one here.
that's all you need. Relationship rules. That's all you need. So,
That's funny.
but when we're talking about relationships, so you, like several men that I would say ministers, like a TD Jakes, who I feel has a ministry for women. That's just my opinion. I'm not
Mm,
saying you
mm,
said that,
mm,
but there's
mm,
something very powerful about a man who has the ability to speak to the hearts of women and to
mm,
call women into their own greatness. Not to say that you don't do the same thing for men, but it's a very specific sound that women could hear you. So when I see you and the way you
wow.
carry yourself and the way that you speak to my heart, you are very much a king. You carry yourself in a very royal and a very dignified way. You're very woke. You're very awake. You get it on a whole nother level. You vibrate on a very high level, which makes you stand out, as you should. And it's almost like, wow, can we clone Dr. Eddie? Because I don't see a whole lot of that going on. That's the one we need to clone, men that are talking about the things that you're talking about. Because, we
Right.
see so much, especially in the world of social media, men like, Kevin Samuel, no disrespect. Everybody's got their, you know what I'm saying? You got Derek Jackson. You have so many people that are,
Mm,
taking this position to not always speaking life to women. You know what I'm saying? And so I guess
right,
my
right, right.
my my biggest question was, how did you know, or how did you become this relationship? How did that become like your niche conversation of, not to say that's all you talk about, but right now you're focusing on like relationships and stuff like that.
Mm,
What is it that you've been through? Who was your model? How did you know? Because I mean, I'm older than
mm,
you. I'm 47 years old. So, I kind of look at you like I'm like the big sister. You know what I'm saying? But I'm like, he's so young. How does he know all of these things? Like this old man who has this level of wisdom and the depth of what you're talking about, so wise. How did you know? Where did you see it? Especially, honestly, you said your parents had divorced when you were younger. How did you know so much about relationships?
Whew, a lot to unpack there. No, I will say for me, I was always the kid who didn't always want to hang around kids. I wanted to hang around the older group.
I could tell.
And a lot of times,
I could tell.
yeah, this is a got an old soul to a
You
certain degree.
do. You really do.
And
Yeah.
they would catch me, the older people with the older the parents and stuff. The parents would catch me, I'm over the house or whatever the case may be, not hanging with the kids. They catch me having my ear up to the door or listening. And they like, what you doing spying and prying and, being nosy with our business? Go on, play with the kids. And
Wow. I can see that.
I was just absorbing, I was
Yeah.
absorbing. I was just, just the intrigue of life. And I just began to really just I guess the anthropologist in me to a certain degree,
Okay.
kind of just absorbing human behavior and the psychology. I actually wanted to major in psychology in college. I had a bad professor and it just kind of veered me off away from that, but kind of went into it to a certain degree when I was teaching in school education.
Okay.
As a high school teacher.
What is your degree
having
in?
to manage.
I'm sorry to cut you. I'm just curious.
Degree is in education.
Oh, okay, got you.
Yeah, degrees in education. So just kind of just managing different personalities and psychology behind that. And I just happened just to take a chance at just writing a book on relationships called Heal Your Heart.
Okay.
How to really focusing on how to heal from broken relationships. And the relationship that I really focused on repairing was the one with my father, which was broken because I had a lot of bitterness.
Yeah.
About him not being there.
Sure.
And I actually had to forgive him before he ever gave me an apology. Yeah. And I said, if I could be amicable and not walk in a place of bitterness, but get better from the bitter situation, surely I could empower anybody else to find reconciliation in their relationship, much less reconciliation internally.
Okay.
And that really just took me on the place. And before I ever wrote a book to women, I wrote one to men called My Brother's Keeper.
Really?
And yeah. And I said, hey, you know what? Let me just step out of my comfort zone, because at that time I was just everybody just knew me as the guy who overcame cancer, speaking in churches, right. And then also just motivational messages overall. And I said, yeah, overall, right. And so I knew that there was more to me than just that. And there was some other parts that I wanted to talk about.
Okay.
And I felt as if I could, whether people wanted to hear from me or not, I needed to get it off my chest.
Okay. And, somebody will like it. Yeah. Right.
And I just began to just share, through social media, just my writing, and I just kept to share it more. And Dear Queen, I didn't know that was going to be a trilogy that turned into a woman, that turned into wife. And I said, let me, then I went to talking about vision. I wrote a book about race relations, American Creed, red, white, blue, black lives, I'm asking Americans in America.
Yeah.
And then I said, let me just come back around full circle, talk about relationship rules. And I didn't want to do it from the place of just telling women what to do.
Yeah.
Because oftentimes the rhetoric on relationships is so skewed. This is what women need to do. This is how you need to dress. This is how you need to talk. This is how you need to speak. Right. And even religiously, we always talk about Proverbs 31, who can find a virtuous woman.
Yes.
But where's the scripture for men? Here it is, Proverbs chapter 20, verse 6. Who can find a faithful man? Yeah. And I'm more English than math, but 20 comes before 31.
Yes, indeed.
So the question who can find was asked to women, to brothers before it was to women.
Nice.
Who can find a faithful man Can you be faithful in your character? Can you be faithful in your calling? Can you be faithful in your commitment? Can you be faithful as a father? Can
Right.
you be faithful in various assets and aspects of life? Can you be faithful in your relationship with God? Because you can't do that. It doesn't matter about the other aspects and parts.
Come on.
Sisters want men to be faithful. Brothers want sisters to be virtuous.
Yes.
And here we are in the throes of relationships where 1 in 4 Black women are slated to be married. 1 in 25% of millennials, 25 to 30% of millennials, there is no need for marriage. They would rather cohabit than say I do to anybody else.
Yeah.
So just dealing with this whole aspect of relationships. And I said, let me just talk about 3 areas: how to win at love, leadership, and leveraging your purpose. And it has really hit hard, and it's hit home to a lot of individuals, not just our sisters,
Sure.
but also brothers are reading it too.
Absolutely. So talk about, you've built a whole, not just a book, but you have the academy.
Right.
So talk about the academy and what people are experiencing and who's the ideal client. It's like, that's the thing that's really hard for us as speakers, right? And we come out with these different products and opportunities for training, etc. And the marketplace is so crowded. It's so much noise going on. Everybody's the guru of something, and whether they are or not, they just kind of, it just makes it really difficult to, for your audience to hear you when there's so much noise. So who is your ideal client and what can they expect to get out of the academy?
Yeah, I would say really the ideal client are individuals who desire to strengthen their relationships. They want to really grow in personal development, but also they want to prepare for their purpose partner. I really believe that, and when I'm talking about all that, we have married couples, we have married people who are in our academy as well. When really it was the whole desire of preparation for a spouse in their house. I say you can't expect a purpose partner if you have not first partnered
Partner
with
with
your
your
purpose.
purpose. Yes.
Yeah, finding a way to say I do to you,
Yes.
but also healing. And it's the individuals who desire healing, because you can't force healing on anybody.
Correct.
You have to have a desire to make the change.
Yeah.
And a lot of times we go into relationships, they don't work out, and we always want to point the blame at somebody else. This is what they did, this, so on and so forth.
Yeah.
Sometimes the relationship is a mere reflection of who you are.
Mm-hmm.
You don't attract what you want, you attract who you are. And until you begin to heal from the vestiges and the brokenness of your past, you'll attract that, but you'll also bleed on people who didn't even cut you.
Come on now. That part. Okay. All right. I have to ask this question. So, are you in a relationship? Have you had your heart broken? Is this coming from a personal experience for you, or are you, kind of sitting back, observing, learning, studying the word, and then teaching from that perspective? Or where are you in your own personal life? That is the question we want to know, Dr. Eddie.
Well, I'm preparing for my purpose partner, and in that aspect of being an unmarried man, who desires to build a legacy, to build a family, to build a nation.
Yeah.
I know that it will come to fruition. And as I'm teaching, yes, I'm thinking about things that may not have worked out in the past, or things that could have done better.
Sure.
That I had to go on the healing trajectory of my own. I don't think you can really give the prescription if you haven't first taken the medicine.
Right.
And
right.
Sometimes we find ourselves leading while bleeding.
Yes.
Instead of finding a way to allow God to patch up our wounds, and spending the time isolated, because there is no elevation without isolation. There's no revelation without isolation. Taking the time to be alone, but understand you can be alone and not lonely.
Yeah.
You got to be able to enjoy your own company before you expect somebody else to. And in that, now there's a level of growth.
Yeah.
Because nobody can complete you. Only God does
Only
that.
God can. Absolutely.
And so, yeah.
That's
so it's a remarkable journey.
So here's a question.
So many people are in there.
Yeah, I agree with everything that you're saying. Such wisdom, my goodness. Um, the one question that I always ask, and when I'm listening to your books, I'm listening to you talk, and you always, and actually, the first time that I saw you, you were on a webinar. You were one of the guests on a webinar, and I asked you a question, and I was talking about my singleness as a divorced woman, and because you had your parables, I like to call them. You said all this good stuff, and you was like, you don't mind. What did you say? You what did no? Don't tell me. You said you don't mind eating alone when you know what you bring to the table. That's what you said.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. Right, right,
and
right. Yeah,
and
absolutely, absolutely. I know
that's
what you
right.
bring to say.
That's right. And so my question was, okay, so I know what I bring to the table. How long I need to eat alone? Like, how long we gonna do this? When we're talking about, the
Yeah,
reality
yeah.
of there's so many more women as opposed to men. And then we talk about, who's eligible, who's a good fit, all of these different things that for women,
Hmm.
we are dealing, I feel like, with a real epidemic, in terms of the inability to
Hmm.
really find suitable partners. So it's like, and then so when you saw, and so your advice to me was that I first need to partner with my purpose and that God would send me a purpose partner, right? And that's what I've been doing, and it was good advice. It's the right thing, and it's for everybody, right? We all need to be focused on, it's like a lot of times we think being in a relationship is the be all the end all. Like that's going to complete your life
Hmm.
and all of that. But there's so much as an individual of work that we need to do on ourselves
Right,
and learn
right.
learn, like you said, how to be alone, how to enjoy and focus on the other aspects of why God created us to begin with. And so when we talk about the purpose partner, do you believe that everybody will find their purpose partner? Yeah, I partner with my
Hmm.
purpose, Dr. Eddie. So where's my partner at? Is he definitely coming? Am I doing something wrong if he doesn't? Like, what of that? What do you say to women who, or men who still haven't found it and they're doing it? They're partner with their purpose.
Right. I think there are a lot of variables to that.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, when you think about how many women there are to men, mathematically, you can say, I don't know if it looks like that's going to be.
Right.
But I
Right.
believe in the midst of all of that, God can have someone specifically, uniquely designed for you.
Okay.
And one of the things that I think is we have to look at what our standards are,
Mm-hmm.
what are the blockades to us receiving, quote unquote, the blessing that we have.
Mm-hmm.
Also, um, so many times we want from somebody a lot of times what we're not prepared to receive, much less handle.
Mm.
Um, I asked something on my Instagram live the other day when we do our Wednesdays and Friday nights at 9 p.m.
Right.
On relationships, and I asked, "Are women overlooking a good man based upon
Salary.
him not being a high earner?" Yeah,
Right.
salary.
Yeah.
And it is in a woman's nature to want security, things that and the other. But sometimes the man that God may have for you might not be necessarily 6 feet, 6 figures, and a six pack. Sometimes all them sixes might leave you with a devil.
Amen.
And then right, and then on that whole level as well, too many times we've said women should just be hidden in God, and that's true,
Hmm.
but we've made that applicable to every area of her life,
Yeah.
because scripture says he that findeth a wife findeth a good thing, obtain the favor of the Lord. But we got to know that the converse of finding is not hiding.
Mm.
The converse of finding is presenting and position.
Mm.
You ought to, I think a woman has to, she doesn't have to chase a man,
Mm.
but to a certain degree, she needs to be able to position herself,
Okay.
present herself. And a lot of times when I'm doing these relationship conversations, I'm asking women, well, where do you go? A
Yeah.
lot of times they're not getting out of the house. How are you
Well.
dressed when you go out of the house? Are
Hmm.
you going out as if it's girls' trip and you expect a man to come up and approach you and all four of your girls? And now he's intimidated to a certain degree because the other women are sizing him up. Nah, girl, leave him alone. Sometimes they
Right.
hating on her
Yeah.
because they don't want her to have no man.
Sure.
So it's a lot of different variables
Yeah.
that come into that place as well. Um, but I think, a woman being in a place of presentation, positioning are one of those keys to her being found by the right person.
Oh.
And then, we're thinking we got to see today as well. What are the variables of what a man wants? A lot of times we're seeing, uh, sometimes as men, not so much that they don't want marriage,
Hmm.
but it is, when you have a lot of failed relationships, or when people feel that, um, the person does not necessarily bring what they want to the table.
Right.
A lot of times there can be, cold feet for that. And
Yeah.
so, I think it's just a lot of variables that we have to look at, and see where our standards are,
Yeah.
and then also exercise ourselves in that aspect of growing in a relationship with ourselves
Yeah.
in order to grow with somebody else.
Agree. Can you give us one thing? And I know, like, relationship rules is just chock full of wisdom, but could you share just one piece of it with our audience? What's one of the rules that you would want us to walk away with?
The one of the rules is, um, don't follow your heart. Don't follow
Talk.
your heart.
What do
That
you
is that is
mean
the
by
worst
that?
advice you could ever receive.
Because the heart is
Following your heart
deceitful.
is one of the words. Yeah,
Because the heart is
that is
deceitful.
true.
Okay, talk about
Yeah,
that. Go ahead.
yeah, yeah. Following your heart is the worst advice you get. People tell you to follow your heart as if it's social media. They tell you,
Mm,
oh, follow your dreams, like, follow your heart like you're following your dreams.
yeah.
Your heart can take you where your mind can't keep you.
Mm.
You know, a lot of times you can stay in a situation where you don't belong. You can be the right gift at the wrong address
Ooh,
because you specifically followed your heart, but your mind is telling you something different.
okay.
Rather than following your heart, you got to follow the Spirit of God,
Amen.
because what God gives you, He gives you discernment, He gives you direction to
Mm-hmm.
say, yeah, she's fine, but she ain't mine. Right? I can, you can spot a devil in a blue dress. You can
Right.
spot, you know, whoever it is,
Mm-hmm.
wherever they are,
Yeah.
because you have discernment. You're not a novice. You're not, green in regards to that, because you've had certain experiences, and we all have in our lives,
Yeah.
to where we know, I know what this movie looks like. I've seen the trailer before.
Okay.
I know how it ends.
Right.
No need of me getting involved with people,
Yeah.
different faces, but I'm still in the same
Same
places,
place.
because
Yes.
I have not healed, and I am not allowing God to govern my heart. And I now question, and I now ask Him, is this the right move for me?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, just because they're attractive doesn't mean you're compatible.
Amen to that. Amen to that.
Got to investigate it and got to ask your questions. Yeah.
Would you say that your message, because you are Christian, would you say that your message is it for the Christian community only? Because a lot of people may find value, but they're like, oh, well, I'm not really into church or that whole thing. I don't really read the Bible. People are in different places with their spiritual walk. Who would you say your message is it for? Is it for the Christian walk? Who is it for?
Yeah, I would say it's really at the totality of it. Yes, for Christians, because
Okay,
that is the basis of my messaging. However, it's
sure.
also for those individuals who want to just grow in general.
Yeah.
And rather than, just beating everybody over the head with the Bible, I think it's principles,
Mm-hmm.
standards for living, character development.
Okay.
Character can, your gift will take you to the top. Your character will keep you
Keep
on
it there.
top.
Mm-hmm.
And so just being able just to help people develop character, but also just grow in various areas of their lives,
Mm-hmm.
is the principles that I just use. And thankfully, I'm able to, use those principles based on,
Yeah.
God's word, which
Yeah.
has, become a great prescription, but also medicine for
Yeah.
the maladies of life. And so, yeah.
And I have to ask you this question. What are your thoughts on people like Kevin Samuels, where, he's someone who is there's some of the things and he might say it might be on point, but his delivery is totally disrespectful. Like where what do you think of what do you think of that? Not to tear anybody down, but as a
Sure.
man, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, tonality, delivery is everything.
Yeah.
The message is everything, and a lot of times people are sharing out of their hurt
Mm.
rather they're healing.
Mm-hmm.
Hurting people hurt people, heal people.
Mm.
And it was the great rhetorician, rapper extraordinaire Tupac said, "We got our name from our woman. We came from a woman.
Yes.
How we discredit our women, so to
Yes.
speak." In uh, as I'm paraphrasing.
Yeah.
Um, and so, there's no need to be, misogynistic
Right.
in the approach. I think you can really toe the line on relationships and sharing how men need to improve, how women need to improve,
Mm-hmm.
without berating, belittling, and beating down the confidence of sisters. But then it
Absolutely.
also begs the question:
Mm-hmm.
if that continues to go on and everybody's, in an uproar about it,
Right.
what as women, why keep showing up?
I have no idea. That's always the question. Why do you
Why
keep
keep showing
calling?
up unless you're addicted to being afflicted?
Yes. Yes. Clearly.
So yeah. Misery loves company, and I don't know about you, but I will be neither.
Yes.
So a lot of times, sensationalism that excoriates people, they're attracted to
Yeah.
toxicity.
Yeah.
For some people, they're red is their favorite color, because they refuse to ignore red flags and they ingratiate it, they embrace it.
Mm.
So it's you can't talk about the beast if you keep feeding it.
Right. I know. It's a
Yeah,
really interesting thing that's happening in our culture right now.
yeah,
And I was just really curious because it just you just wonder why do they keep why do they keep calling,
yeah. Right,
why
right,
has
right,
this
right.
it's just it continues to grow and to get bigger, and there's a like you said, the way you say things is everything. And so when we talk about a high value man, by whose definition? By man's definition,
Right,
you know
right,
what I
right.
mean? And it's just kind of
Mhm.
perpetuating a low vibration of expectation, and I just want to recognize and honor you for really holding that high vibration of a godly man. When I see and I think of a high value man, I think of a man like you, a man who's standing and walking in his purpose, who is leading in a way that would make a woman want to submit under your leadership because you're getting your direction from God and not the superficial things of this world. So I honor you for that. And I hope that you continue to let God use you and that he will multiply you. I know we cannot clone you, but I know that the impact that you're having, your voice will be continue to be multiplied, that more men can have that awakening and really come into the light as you are leading them that way. So thank you for what you're doing for us.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you so much. You definitely are a queen, and you wear
Thank
your
you.
crown, quintessentially unique, empowering everyone naturally. And
Thank you.
so you using your voice and your platform to speak truth to power and to just take our people up to the next level.
That's what it's about.
And we're in concert with your vibration, with your beat,
Thank you.
and we all are gonna stay in rhythm with you. And so, thank you so
Amen.
much for the opportunity to be able to share.
Definitely. Tell us how we can stay in contact with you for those people that want to purchase your book, which they absolutely must. Join your academy and get in on the good stuff on these Wednesday and Friday night lives so that they could talk to you themselves and hear this juicy conversation. How do we stay connected to you, Dr. Eddie?
Absolutely. I have to say, the revolution will not only be televised, it'll be digitized. So you go to my website,
Yeah.
dreddieacademy.com, where we have our master classes, where we have our sessions, where we have our live connections, and also our private Facebook group, which is all in concert with our academy. If you want to grow in the areas of love, leadership, leveraging your purpose, you need to join our academy, where we're just having breakthrough after breakthrough. Our last session was particularly for ladies, how to speak Manglish. the 10 Commandments on how to talk to a man and how to open up his mind and his mouth.
Nice.
So we have a number of great sessions that we do on a weekly basis.
Sweet.
Follow me Facebook, Instagram, Twitter at Eddie Connor Jr. EddieConnor. And then of course the book Relationship Rules That's Blessing People Locally and Globally. You can
Yes.
get it as an ebook, audiobook, hard copy, Amazon, Barnes and Noble, iTunes, Audible, wherever books are sold.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
available.
I love it. And listen to it on audio because his voice is so chocolatey smooth. I mean, it's a little extra benefit. But you didn't hear that from me. I'm just saying a little extra if you get it on audio, girl, you'll love it.
That's a high compliment coming from you. That's high. You all about the vibe. So
I'm telling you,
I'm glad my
seriously.
voice is a vibe.
It is. It is. It is. Thank you so much again. I will definitely stay connected. And thank you, everyone, for watching and listening to the Urban Parlay podcast. I know you have enjoyed this session. I hope that you've got a notepad full of great wisdom for you to apply to your life. Don't just read it, it's about the application of it. So, God bless you. I look forward to being with you again next week. In the meantime, I wish you peace and I wish you blessings.